as they thought they did. I'm not a man of few words. But since there's, this is usually where you'd say, please be seated so that you can relax, because it's going to take a while, but I don't see that you got a lot of places to sit, so maybe I'll be briefer than I would have been. I had three things in mind that I wanted to talk about, though, and since you gave me carte blanche, I'm going to take it.
Take it. Take it.
So, one of those things, geez, I'm nervous. It's all out of my head. Maybe we don't need a ceremony.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
The world is a warmer place. Yeah.
Hopefully cooling others.
So the first thing is about, making a choice to get married is bringing a couple together, but it involves a whole lot more people, and a significant subset of them are here. Second thing is that it's a choice that not everybody has, and that not everybody gets to make, and not everybody did get to make in history. We're one of a small number of people in the world that actually get to make this choice so freely, and I want to celebrate that. And the third one is you make this choice and it's going to make you grow in ways that you wouldn't have grown otherwise. And I want to talk about that a little bit. So those are kind of where we're headed.
All right.
I'll give you some topics.
I'm a professor. What are you going to do? Here's what I'm going to say, and I'll say it, and here's what I just told you.
Is there a test afterwards?
You're passing it so far. Be good. No.
I like this exam.
So the first thing is the idea that you're coming here to get married is it's joining two people into a family, making something new that wasn't there before. And well, I was thinking about that when we sat and talked last week, and you were saying, well, we're actually the bad kids. And I thought, okay, so why are they bad? And I thought about it a little bit. It's like, well, when I was a kid, it would have been bad that you lived together before you got married, but we're kind of beyond that. I mean, hell, I did that, and I'm really happily married, so I don't want to necessarily think that's bad. And then I think, I know why they're really bad. They're really bad because, man, they went and got married without us. And then they invited us. Now they're making amends by inviting us to this fine party. But the reality is, when you get married, I don't want to detract. It is true that when you get married, the two of you make a home together. And so you're sharing a bedroom, sharing a bathroom, sharing a kitchen, sharing the chores, and it's something that, it definitely affects the two of you in a big way, and I don't want to make light of that. But, you can do that without getting married. People do it all the time. So what is it about getting married that's different? Why does it feel so different after you're married? Because it sure as hell did for me. And we were doing all that before we got married, and it was really different after. And I think the reason is because when you get married, you're affecting a lot of other people. You're not just making the two of you into this little unit. You're bringing two families together and joining them. And you're bringing two circles of friends together and joining them. And in one sense, that's trivial because, hey, people that wanted to hang out with Ryan already knew they were going to be hanging out with Ashleigh too, because they've been hanging out together for a while. So in that sense, it's not such a big deal, but it's different when now you're family. And now all of Ryan's family's got another family member. Someone to turn to when you need them, someone to take care of when she needs it. And all Ashleigh's family's got a new member to turn to when they need some help and to take care of when he needs help. And that's different. That's a big damn deal. You're changing both of your families. And that's not just you. So it ripples out. You're connected in this big web, and that's why people are here. It's not just to celebrate, because everybody likes a good party, but it's to acknowledge you're making us a community in a way that we weren't before. You're making us a family in a way that we weren't before, and that matters. That's the difference between marriage and just, hey, we got something going and it's good. But now it's like, hey, we got something going, and thank you for inviting us to be a part of this, because now it's all us involved too.
Big damn deal.
Big damn deal. And that brings us to the second point, which is it's such a big damn deal for families that in most cultures in the world and throughout most of history, you don't trust kids with hormones to make that decision. You go out and you say, hey, when I lived in Nepal, I was in the Peace Corps in '83. It's a million years ago for people who weren't born yet, but it's my living memory. You know, I participated in several weddings, and you know, what happens? The father goes to the matchmaker, and the matchmaker's got a list of everyone of, you know, starting to get hormones within a 2-day walk. And then they've got horoscopes for all these people, so you kind of match up astrologically. You got to make sure you're not putting people together that's going to create a disaster for both families. And then you kind of pick out, okay, now this family looks like this birth date works, this family, and then you start doing all other stuff. What's the politics? You know, how is connecting to this family going to help our family? How's it going to hurt our family? What enemies are we making when this family becomes our family? What friends are we making when this family becomes our family? You don't trust kids with hormones to make these decisions. This is huge. It's affecting all of us. Well, we happen to be living in a place where we've stepped a bit beyond that, you know. But in my living memory, again, isn't there still a tradition that a bunch of you have lived through where you ask the bride's father for permission to ask her to get married, to court? Can I court this woman? Ah, now you're kids. Let the old man talk.
Let them be happy, man.
And you know, when the old man says yes, and then your bride says yes, and notice the bride's not asking the man, right? Then the father brings the bride down the aisle and transfers possession to the husband. And as a further evidence of that transfer of possession, she changes her name from her old possessor to her new possessor, right? I mean, this shit happens today. And even though we don't know why we do it, we still do it. There's this feeling like, wow, you know, I really should talk to her folks, you know, before, but I'm assuming you didn't do that because you're the bad kids. You're the bad kids, you know, like my grandpa who, you know, my grandma was happily engaged to someone. Grandpa showed up in town for about a week and then they eloped at the end of the week. Horrible family scandal, but they still wanted my dad to ask, my scandalous grandfather still wanted my dad to ask him for permission to court my mom, which he did because his folks did it right. And so, you know, this is out there. So we live in a time and a place where you actually get to make that choice, and the rest of us are just kind of saying, wow, so who are we hooked up to now? And I don't want to say anything bad about arranged marriage because I saw just as many good marriages and just as many bad marriages.
Hey, can we talk about this marriage?
It's coming out of that.
This is only the first chapter.
And yeah. I told you, I'm not a man of few words. And so, what you got is a time and place where you're the ones making the choices. And we're here to celebrate that choice and to celebrate that you're bringing us together. And that's the third thing I want to talk about, is that choice. Because a lot of people think of this in the old-fashioned way. You're making a choice, and well, now that you've done that, you get on with your life. But what I'm going to tell you is, no, you're making that choice every day when you wake up. Every morning, you got that choice to make again. And right now, it's an easy choice. I mean, you guys are full of each other. But there'll come a time when some beautiful person comes along and starts talking to your hormones, and then you get to make that choice all over again. And there'll come a time when, well, you know, I want to do this, and, well, my partner doesn't. Well, how are we going to work this out? And, you know, you got to work through it. And again, you're making that choice. And as you grow together, in one sense, there's trivial growth, because we're all growing all the time. That's just what happens when you're alive. You're growing. But now you're growing, like, together, and all those branches are going off in different directions, and you don't all have to have the same branches anymore. You can complement each other. You can help each other reach different parts of the light that one of you can't get to alone. But you're still making a choice every time the choice comes up, and that choice doesn't go away today. And that's a beautiful thing, because you grow in a whole different way when you're making that decision to put down roots. There's folks that say the choices you make are what tell everyone who you are. Bullshit. The choices you make are what make you who you are. You're making a choice today. You're going to keep making that choice, I hope. And if you make a different one, well, bless you, but I sure like the choice you're making today, and I hope it goes on for a long, long time. And with that in mind, I'm thinking I'd like the two of you to tell this community that you're joining, that you are bringing together, What is it that
I want to
you're
hear some vows.
What is it that you're saying to each other? What is it that you're
Just gonna put it out.
do what you're gonna do?
It's time to grow up, Ash. The road to hell laid out in front of us. Will you marry me?
Because we've been married.
You sure?
Bad night.
Oh, you got me.
Wow.
There you go.
What Spike was saying. We don't have to make a choice. We made a choice and we're sticking to it. And we're not changing. I'm not changing.
No, I'm not changing either. And we'll be swimming in all the orchards now.
Oh yeah!
I need to kind of cut you.
Yeah, I did a bad job.
Oh, pour some. That's what we brought it
Didn't
out for.
hurt you enough.
Nice.
All right, let's have fun.
All right.
Party on.
Okay, party is starting. Open fucking bar.
Make sure you tip your bartender. Tip the bartender because she is awesome.
Yay!
Just rub your hands again.
Yeah, it's pretty hot.